Right guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm just going to be taking a look at the 105 R7020 hydraulic levers and why many people have a problem with them rattling and it's driving them mad. So if you want to know a possible fix for it, then I'll show you. Right, so here we have the lever. Now, many people have a problem with these. When you're riding down the road, say you're on the drops in particular, or just on the flat of the bars up here, then they say that it's rattling, making a vibrating noise, as you could hear before. Now, some people, what they do is, obviously if you take your wheel out, then you could pull the lever and it'll go right back to the bar because the pads are closing up and there's no disc in the way. So you can do that. And some people, what they do is stick a piece of sponge like so on inside there, just exaggerating, just put that in there and then close it up like so, so it's cushioned in there, which you can do, but you're better off is getting a piece of sponge if you're going to do that and stick it up inside there, actually inside the hood itself, in that area, and then let your lever go. So you can do that, but many people do that and say, well, it's still vibrating. It's helped, but it hasn't cured it. And I'll show you what the actual problem is. It's got nothing to do with that. That does help, so I'm not saying don't do that. You can put a piece of sponge up in there because it does do something. And what the difference between the 105 hydraulic levers and the Ultegra, say that the 8020 and these 7020, is inside there, up inside in there, there's a rubber stopper. In a Ultegra lever or the higher end levers, in these there isn't anything up in there. It's just plastic, hard plastic. There's nothing there. There's a rubber stopper. I can show you later on an Ultegra one. There's one Ultegra right next to me, so I can see. So there's a rubber stopper in there. So when you let go of this area here is the same, but there's a rubber stopper. So this hits on the rubber stopper. That's why sometimes by putting a piece of sponge up in there, it helps to the noise, but it won't cure it. What the actual problem is with these levers, it's got nothing to do with that. Many people say when they're riding on the drops, the lever's buzzing like mad, and when they got their hands on the hood, the noise stops. And I'll show you why that is. If I come round this side, if I put my hand on the hood like that, and they're like, well, when I've got my hand there like so, there is no noise from it. It helps the noise, it stops it. And the reason for that is, I'll just grab a little screwdriver to show you. There's a pin there, if you see, and it's the same. The pin looks identical both sides. As you see, it's got a big flat area on it. Now, that pin is totally different in these 105 shifters to it is in the Ultegra, and I can show you later on. That pin moves. So when you've got your hand on the levers, you don't realise, but you're holding that pin. As you can see there, your thumb and your finger this side is holding the pin in place, so it helps to stop the noise. That pin is vibrating. If you grab hold of the shifter at the end there, not the actual lever, just the top piece, and if you move it, it'd be very hard to see, but you can make that. I'll try and make it so you can see it. You see that pin? It's moving from left to right, and that's different. An Ultegra's got a different pin in it, and there's absolutely no movement in it whatsoever. It's rock solid, and it's got a rubber up inside, like I said, but the pin is rock solid. There's no movement in it because the pin is a different type of pin. You could look all the play in there. You can see it clearly. It's easy. So what you got to do is just stop that pin moving side to side. Right, so what I've just done is I've mixed up some epoxy resin there, and I've gone over the end of both pins, was the pin either side the same, and then just wipe the excess off with your finger, just work it into around the pin, and then we'll let that dry. Right, so the next thing to do is, if you pull back your hood, you see there's a cover here, there's a little screw there. Now a lot of times that screw can work itself loose. This screw here, I've already tightened that one, but it was loose before. There's a little screw there, as you can see, and all that does is holds the cover on the end, like so. So what you want to do is, with this cover, it's only held on by that little tab there with that little screw. That's all that's holding it on. So when that screw works itself loose, this cover on the end here can vibrate as well, which doesn't help. So while you've got the levers where you can get at these, as I say, when you've got your wheels out, you just pull on the brake lever, and all you have to do is push your pistons back later. If you can get at that, just remove that cover, and on that screw thread, this little screw like I just took out, you just put a bit of Loctite on that thread, just stop that coming undone. So it works itself undone after a while. As you see, there's no thread lock on it at all. So if you put some thread lock on there and then tighten it back up, and that'll stop it working loose. Right, so then what you can do is, if you get yourself a piece of rubber inner tube, just round the corners off on it slightly, and then you want it so it fits up inside the hood, then you can glue it up in there. So if you pop that in there like so, just rest it up in there, and then close the lever and just leave it in there for the glue to go off. Right, so now I've done those simple modifications there, I'll just test it again for you. Right, so here we have up inside the Ultegra R7020 lever. You see in the back there, right at the back, there's a block with serrated edges on it in there, and that's a rubber block in there. So when the shifter closes up, the lever, brake lever, it rests on that rubber pad at the back, right at the back. Right, so here we have the Ultegra R7020 levers, and you can see the pin there is different. It's a pin with what looks like a metal surround around it. As you can see, that's on the outside of the lever, and then on the inside of the lever it looks like so on the inside. So if you compare that with the 105 R7020, it's totally different. And there's no movement in the end of the lever. If you grab hold the end of the lever like that and look at the pin, move it side to side like I was earlier on the 105, the pin does not move. It's absolutely rock solid. There's no movement in it at all. No matter what you do to the end of this, side to side movement, you know, the pin is not moving. It's bushed correctly in there, or the bushings are different, or it's got a metal insert in there instead of just the plastic body of the lever, and then the pin, it's actually got a proper bush inside there, so there's no movement in the pin side to side at all, so it's rock solid. Right, so there's the steps complete for you anyway, so that should help quieten your shifter down if you've got a noisy one, which majority of people seem to have. So without obviously replacing the lever for a completely different set, obviously that's an option but an expensive one, then just a few simple tricks there will quieten it down for you on the road. So if you found the video helpful, give it a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to the channel for more cycle related content. Till next one, ride safe and I'll see you then.